What's going on, guys? Welcome to your 38th UDK. Wait a minute. What is this right here? Oh, this is just my new YouTube channel that you guys should definitely subscribe to. The new Boston TV. Didn't even realize I had that up there, so sorry about that. X out of that, and alright, guys. Like I said, welcome to your 38th UDK tutorial. And in this tutorial, I'm going to be going over all the terrain tools. So if you X out of this and open your terrain editing mode, you get this new terrain window that pops up, and the tools are on the left hand side. So before I go over all of them, I want to say this. A lot of these tools you're probably never going to use, and some of them the UDK is like in the process of getting rid of. So I just gonna go over the basic ones that we're gonna be using the most. So I guess I might as well start in the top left and work my way down bottom to right, kind of like I'm reading. So the very first tool is the add and remove sectors tool. Now what this does is when you click it, it basically adds and removes portions of your map. So let me go ahead and get a good angle so I can show you guys. If you go ahead and hold down control and drag outward, you can see that we're kind of adding sectors to the map. Kind of adding, map. So if I let go, you see we have more map. Now in order to delete that, go ahead and hold control and right click and drag inward and you can delete it. So left click adds, right click deletes portion of your map. So if you're creating a map and you realize that you're running out of space, this is how you add new space to it basically. Now aside from this, let's see, we don't go over that one. This paint one is the next one, and you guys already know from the last two tutorials what paint does. Paint vertex, that's one that we're going to be using sometimes. Now let me go ahead and adjust my brush a little bit, add some radius to that, and I guess I might as well scroll in and scroll down. Alright, what paint vertex does is if you hold down control and left click, it adds vertexes. What it's doing is it's gonna select all the vertexes of your map in the area that you paint. Now if you go ahead and hold control and right click, it takes it and it deletes the vertexes you selected. And we're saying, alright, well, why in the world would I want to add and deselect vertexes? Well, if you want to create like a plateau or something, if you hold down Control and Alt while you have your vertexes selected, you can go ahead and pull those up with the left mouse button. So go ahead and just pull those up right there. And you can also push them down if you go ahead and right drag. So pull that up, and now you can see if I click away, we got a nice little plateau. So actually let me go ahead and use my strength, boost that up to pull it up even more. Maybe that's maybe you can see that better. So if you want to add a plateau or anything, you might want to select the vertexes. Again, I usually just use paint because I just think it's a more natural way, but I just want to show you guys that you can indeed select vertexes if you want to. So there you go, and the next tool that we're going to be going across is, let me see, we won't be doing that, flatten right here. Now flatten tool works a little bit different than you guys might expect. Let me go ahead and demonstrate this right here. So you guys are probably thinking, if I boost my radius a little bit and I fall off just a little bit, that whenever I click this mountain right here, then it's going to flatten it down this size right here. But let me go ahead and hold down control and paint, and you're saying, whoa, what the heck is going on? Well, let me go ahead and pull my radius down a little bit. Actually, a lot of it. And you're saying, alright, this isn't flattening my map at all. What the heck is going on? Well, how flatten works is this. It's going to take the location of where you first click on your mouse. For example, if I first click on this top of the mountain, it's going to bring all the pixels up, or I don't want to say pixels, it's going to bring all the terrain up to that level. If I go ahead and I start clicking on the ground level right here, it's going to bring all the pixels down to that ground level. So depending on where you first click on your mouse, that's where it's going to bring all the pixels to the level. So flatten isn't really the best word. It's more like bringing pixels to this level. So that's why it does that. So the next tool I want to go over with that in mind is, I won't go over that one, this one right here called smooth. Now smooth works exactly how you think it would work. It basically takes something and it smooths it out. So you're saying, alright, we just made that, it's a little bit bumpy, and the other side as well, a little bit bumpy as well. Just go ahead and smooth that out right there. Now if you go ahead and hold control and right click, it basically does the exact same thing, unsmooths it or roughens it up, gives it more edges. But you usually just want to use the smooth whenever you're, and you actually use it with the one of the tools that I'm going to be covering in the future. So basically, smooth things out if you want more hilly texture and less, peaking mountains. So, anyways, enough of that. So the next tool I want to go over is this little tool with a percent sign above it, and that's average. So what average does is it takes the location of, it pretty much takes your height map and averages out whatever distance, both low and high. So you're saying, all right, this kind of looks like a useless tool. Well, check this out. Averaging is incredibly good whenever you want to make paths along like a mountainside. So let me go ahead and bring down my radius and also my fall off and say, all right, I want to make a path so the user can travel along this mountainside. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring down my radius a little bit more and hold control and check it out. Actually, boost my strength up. Boost my strength up a lot. Now check it out. What happens when I paint along here? What it's doing is it's averaging this height right here with this height right here, and of course the average of that is just a flat plane. So the height between this and this is a nice flat path that the user can now walk along. So how awesome is that? That's probably the most common way you're going to be using your average tool. Whether you have a mountain that you want the user to climb, you can go ahead and build them a nice path that they can walk along that. Again, if you were just to do this in the paint tool or another tool, it's going to take you forever. But with this average tool, you're going to be able to do it real quick. Now with the noise tool, which is the next tool we're going to be going over, what this does is basically, let me go ahead and boost all this crap right here. What this does is basically add random bumps to your map. So go ahead and hold control, and you can see whenever I start to paint, it's basically just going to add randomized bumps to my map. So this is useful whenever you first make a terrain and it's all flat and boring. Then you want to add some natural looking bumps. You can do this, but as you can see, this is kind of an unnatural looking terrain right here. What kind of terrain looks like that? None. So you usually use this in conjunction with the smooth tool, where you add some natural bumpy areas, and then you want to go ahead and bring the strength down and smooth it out. And now you might guys not be able to tell, but if you go ahead and bump that up and then smooth it out, you get a nice natural looking ground where it's not perfectly flat like a sheet of paper, but it has some, nice natural bumps like if you go and walk on a field or something. So that's what noise does, basically the bump maker. Now the last tool I want to be going over is the visibility tool. Again, these tools right here like texture pan and merge and split, you really don't use those that often, and if I ever use it, then I'll be going over it then, but I'm not going to waste your time because you're only going to use it once in a blue moon. So the last tool that you're going to be using a lot is this visibility tool. So let me go ahead and bring my radius and fall off basically all the way down, and I'll show you guys what this visibility tool does. If I go ahead and on the back side of my mountain, let me go ahead and make sure I don't take out anything I don't want to, and hold control and just hit click. What the visibility tool does is it takes away a portion of my map. And you're saying, okay, that's interesting and all, but why the heck would you just want to take away random portions of your map? Again, what the heck game just has random blotches on their terrain taken away? Well, check this out. If you ever wanted to add an underground bunker or maybe a cave in your map, this is how you would do it. You would take away a portion of your terrain, and then you would import a static mesh of a cave or a bunker or maybe just an underground room, and then you would place that right here. So again, if we were to play it right now, it would be kind of useless because you would go up to your empty spot in your terrain, shoot through. You never use it just like this. However, if you ever add an underground bunker or something, you could go find the underground bunker and run in and destroy some enemies or whatever you need to do. So that's how you do that. That's the basic use of the visibility tool. Again, it's not just to take away random portions of your map. It's more of adding static meshes. So anyways, with that being said, that's all I'm going to cover in terms of tools. The rest of the tools, like I said, we're not going to be using that often, and if we are, we'll be going over them then. But those are your basic tools. That's how you use them. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and my new channel, and I will see you guys later.